Hello everyone and welcome. In this video we'll be breaking down Season 1, Episode 4 of Pluribus. This episode is good, so stick around while we break down the entire episode. Starting off, in this episode we are finally introduced to one of the non-English speaking survivors of the joining. He is immune. We find that this character's name is Manus, if I'm pronouncing that right. He is isolated and tinkering with what appears to be a radio for communication. We were made aware in Episode 3 that this character distrusts the hive mind entirely and refuses all communication. Even though he likely knows they act nicely and have successfully joined with 99% of humanity, he still tinkers with this radio, hoping to communicate with someone else who is immune or normal. I gotta say, the way this guy is searching for another immune is the same way I'm searching for an unvaxxed girlfriend. In fact, he distrusts them so much that he doesn't even eat the food they prepare for him, even at the brink of starvation. It appears that he's wildly low on food, and instead of eating the food they prepare for him, he simply eats remaining morsels of food from a garbage can and even scavenges for alternative food sources like canned dog food. Now, you might think he's overreacting, but I know for a fact I would not trust these people and would be living just like this dude. Some I Am Legend type status of not going out at night, bunkering down in my pad. Shortly after, we're shown the conversation he had with Carol in Episode 3 from his perspective, in which he notes her cruel response to his cruel rejection as possible evidence she's not infected. He writes her name down, and this alludes to us, the audience, that this is likely not the last time they will communicate. Now, I have to say, even though their exchange was not as smooth as a man's rectum at a Diddy party, it likely brings him comfort knowing he spoke to a real person and not a zombified hive mind freak. His story is very similar to Carol since he is fiercely an individual and refuses to participate in any and all communication with the hive mind. All of his actions point to him wanting what's best for himself and humanity. Even though the world seems gone, he strives through and works to communicate with others who are not infected. After this, we see Carol returning from visiting Zosha at the hospital, given that she was injured protecting Carol from Episode 3's grenade explosion. She steals a police car to get home and is greeted by the hive mind cleaning up the wreckage of her home, much to her dismay. Now, I know she stole this vehicle just as a means to get around, but we know Carol is not as distrusting as the other guy, Manus, and thus would not mind requesting a car of her choice. I mean, knowing me, I'd ask the zombies for a 2016 Stingray Corvette in cherry red with black accents and red leather interior. But no! I have to earn it the hard way, making YouTube videos. Guys, please subscribe so I can get that car. Please, 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 please. It's during this encounter she finds the mayor, of all people, a hive mind member of course, cleaning her driveway. This is meant to be humorous, of course, but it also highlights the fact that the hive mind cares not for a person's individuality, since the mayor is much more likely to be doing something else rather than cleaning up a random citizen's driveway. The hive mind is indifferent to individual choice, something Carol and we are completely against. Soon after, we find that Carol is writing on a whiteboard, listing out some of the details she's learned about the hive mind. It seems she's finally actively working towards learning about them on a personal level, something she was criticized for in previous episodes by the other non-infected. So she seeks counsel with a random hive mind member. She hilariously denies the mayor from volunteering and requests to speak to someone else, a reason we'll find out a little later. She selfishly asks the hive mind about what they think about her books. They naturally say it's a great book and that her writing is on par with Shakespeare, of all people. From this, we learn that they're overly nice and will say anything or do anything to appease the immune. Something we've already known from previous episodes, but is highlighted and studied by Carol here. They glaze her mediocre work so much it's borderline comical. I almost wish they went overboard with it, and say she pushes back, and this results in them having a back and forth until finally the person she's speaking to gets up, gets on their knees, and just says, "You are God," on repeat. I don't know why, I just thought that would be funny as hell, but honestly that would also scare Carol way too much. She then asks what Helen, her lover, thinks about her books. She finally finds out that Helen never really liked her books or thought they were all that great. She just supported her works because they gave them good money, and she loved her. I mean, we support our loved ones unconditionally, and this, though sweet, is more bittersweet for Carol to find that her lover and partner never really thought her books were all that great, and even stopped reading one of her books just barely halfway through, which must have hurt. She finds from this exchange that the hive mind is incapable of lying. They might not tell the truth, but at the very least, they do not lie. She writes this on her whiteboard and then heads over to the hospital to ask Zosha some questions. By the way, going back to her denying the mayor from being the representative who she speaks to regarding these questions, it's just funny because we know politicians generally lie, so she would have definitely been off if he'd given her any answer at all, so that was a little bit of a political joke. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'd be asking a bunch of questions, like, what's so important in Antarctica that we can't visit? I mean, let me know in the comments what you guys would ask for, since the hive mind has the entire collective of human knowledge unfiltered. Anyways, it's during this questioning that we find more about Carol's past. See, her mother once sent her to a conversion camp when she was younger to have her become heterosexual rather than the lesbian she is. Carol mentions she resents her mother for it and the camp counselor since they were viciously cruel. I mean, this is truly sad. I mean, it means that her mother did not accept Carol for who she was and is. I mean, Her mother simply couldn't look past that and love her. I mean, this had to be a terrible thing to experience as a child, and from a parent no less. I mean, she admits that she completely resents her mother from this and the counselors. I mean, no shock there. I mean, her mom couldn't just accept her. Instead, she basically said, nah, let's break this kid's spirit professionally. This gives us greater insight as to why Carol is such a grumpy, unhappy person, a curmudgeon of sorts. This hatred between her and her mother is likely what caused her to be so bitter about everything and rarely expresses love or joy, since she rarely experienced that as a child. Another thing to note is that the environment of a conversion camp is likely similar to that of a hive mind. I mean, everyone there who's not a camper is of the same collective thinking, that their lifestyle is bad and that they need a change to assimilate with the general heterosexual population. I know this is a bit of a serious and sensitive matter, but I gotta comment on how brutal some of these camps can be, since some of them are accused of physical abuse, torture, and electrocutions. I find it somewhat humorous that they use such extreme measures on such a frivolous matter of choosing who you're attracted to. Why don't they shock criminals who are repeat offenders and convert them with force to be a good citizen? I can only imagine Carol being strapped to a chair and screaming for release, only to be shocked by one of the counselors who's smiling maniacally, only for him to accidentally shock her when a photo of a man appears on screen. He says, "Oops, I didn't mean that. Ah, fuck it, let's just zap her for fun. She kicked me in the nuts yesterday." Carol, from that experience, likely instinctively resents sheep/hive mind-like mentality. She's a rebel and goes against cultural norms. This is further emphasized in episodes 2 and 3, in which she finds out the remaining survivors who speak English are sheep and are too scared to fight against the hive mind invasion, since they are content with being waited on hand and foot. She resents this and is willing to go against that defeatist mentality. I mean, even if it's just her... Even if it is literally her against the world, this is what makes Carol such an intriguing, troubled character who, through all struggles, has worked to overcome them. Moving on, she asks Zosha if they can reverse the joining. Zosha doesn't say no, but she doesn't say yes either. She sits there acting like a malfunctioning Alexa device. Given this information, Carol, as we the audience have gathered recently, we find that the hive mind cannot lie. And thus, if there truly was no way to reverse this, then they would simply tell her no. There is no way to reverse this, and that it is inevitable. This allows Carol to discover that there is a cure, but that they simply won't tell her. I mean, even though that is a big wall to overcome, she's motivated by this positive information. She then sneaks away into a room in a hospital that houses the medicine. She steals the truth serum, and when confronted, she hides the stolen medicine and requests that the hive mind give her heroin, something we find that she has done in her sophomore year in high school. She says it was a rough part of her life. I mean, goddamn, bitch, how bad was your life that you needed to take up heroin and not pick up a bottle like the rest of us reasonably sane, troubled humans? Nah, this bitch goes straight to H with haste. Oh, before moving on, I wanted to note that it's impossible for her to have gone into that room without a key card of some kind. I mean, it's not like the hive mind could have given it to her, but she wanted to steal this serum in, secrecy. She didn't want them to know anything about her plans. She's given the heroin, but she flushes it down the toilet. I mean, she chickened out, which is probably for the best. She also steals a book that details the amount of truth serum to dose herself with and records herself via video camera on the drug. She wakes up hours later to find that her admissions from the truth serum seem genuine, although sad, proving that the serum works and that she got the dosage right, at least to her knowledge. Now, I have to say, her acting is so damn phenomenal. In this video, we find a section where she's leaning over the couch, clutching the couch pillows while wailing about how much she misses her lover. I mean, the delivery of the phrase, "I miss you," is honestly heartbreaking. It is so real and genuine. My goodness, did that send shivers down my spine and out my asshole. Good work, Rhea Seahorn. We find later in the video that she finds Zosha to be very attractive, which we likely gathered, but this disturbs Carol slightly. She turns off the recording faster than someone who's been caught watching furry porn. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Zosha's character is attractive? I don't think she's conventionally, widely appealed as attractive. I think she's just a pretty woman. Anyways, her attraction to her is physical only. Their relationship is a facade, since she's not even a real person. She's just a puppet with a hive mind that uses to appeal to Carol so she can interact with her. So, of course, she finds that the truth serum works, and then she secretly doses Zosha with it and asks her how to stop the invasion. How do I reverse this? How does she find a cure? She seems close to saying it or revealing some information, but she must have given her too much, or perhaps she is allergic to the medicine. We do not know. Zosha ends up going into cardiac arrest, and as this is happening, the hive mind is begging Carol to stop this, not to remove them. Now, does anyone else think it's not wild as fuck that she injected herself with a drug knowing damn well she could have accidentally offed herself? And not only that, she risked doing the same to Zosha. I mean, she's not a trained medical professional. I'm not just injecting random drugs to myself. I mean, I know it's labeled, but how do you know, man? How would you risk that? Anyways, I definitely would have aborted the plan the second the room started spinning. I would self-snitch so damn fast. I'm the type of person to take one hit of acid and chop off a homeless person's head while butt naked with a machete. Let it be known, I cannot hang. Now, they are a non-violent species. Even though they are not violently forcing Carol to stop, their wails and begging for mercy can only be described as eerie and wildly unsettling. I mean, that's it. That's the end of the episode. Overall, great episode. Way better than episode 3, in my opinion. And it definitely helps us learn a lot about the other survivor. We get way more insight into Carol's life, which I definitely enjoy. This show definitely has a faster pace than, say, Season 1 of Better Call Saul, where the first 2 seasons were unwatchably slow. I mean, good show overall, one of the best, but definitely a reasonable critique. Let me know in the comments what you guys think the show will go for here. I mean, will Carol find a cure? What will happen if she does cure everyone? Will they have memories of everything, and will that other guy be sent to jail? Or will Carol meet her demise? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe, all that nonsense, and peace out!